Hey folks, welcome back to How to CAD Almost Anything MIT IAP 2026. Today we are in session 4 and we got two very exciting projects ahead of us. From what you can see here in the screen, we'll be CADing today the PlayStation controller, and not shown in the screen is the banana. Now, these two objects, which are seemingly unrelated at all, because there's really no connection between a banana and the PlayStation controller, they actually do have one thing in common, which is that they have complex curves. And that will have us use, as a result, more advanced commands in Inventor that are related to loft, to sweep, to building wireframes and trying to, well, make some things that don't necessarily look as blocky, say, as the power adapter or the tambourine, which is like more regular and symmetry. Here, we're going to start to leverage a little bit more creativity. And as a result, I think that's why today's session is going to be quite interesting. And so, yes, the plan for today is really to go a few commands, namely loft and sweep, and just the strategy of how to create a wireframe. Maybe if you grew up just like me, playing with copper wires and building like little structures out of them, it's like essentially being a wire and then just filling it up using these commands. And these are two projects, the Banana and the PlayStation 1. And I'll explain as we go all of these different things. We'll illustrate them. Last time we worked on the tambourine and the Taipei 101. Tambourine was fairly simple to do, just leveraging symmetry, and that's a lot of stuff that we'll continue to use today. Namely, today we'll use a lot of plane creation, and you'll see how that's going to come by. And then with the Taipei 101 was using a lot more the rectangular pattern, just focusing a lot of time making, say, one of these blocks, adding a lot of detail, then multiplying that by 8, and then building the remaining part. Unfortunately, what happened is that given the amount of detail we put in just one of these blocks, when we multiplied this by 8, the file became so heavy that it was just difficult to work from. What we could have done, actually now thinking in retrospect, is, well, save all of that column, for example, as a file, and then you would have worked on, say, this part and that part on a separate file. And then you would make, for example, an assembly. That's a potential strategy to mitigate some of these things from happening. And then you put them all together afterwards. But today, this is what we have in stock, the Banana and the PlayStation 1. In fact, for the PlayStation controller, we'll make a slightly modified design because I'm not gonna cut this one. I'll use the one that has the two joysticks and here like the two balls because I think that's more of a more classic controller. So let's go now to Inventor. Alrighty, so before cutting anything, I want to do a quick demo on how the loft and sweep commands work, because we'll be using those extensively when making the Banana and the PlayStation controller. So let's go here to Part in Inventor, and let me show you how these two work. So essentially, loft is located here and sweep is in there. Loft, as you can already tell from the icon, what it allows you to do is to take, say, a profile that can be a rectangle or any sort of shape, and another profile that can be say a triangle, and then it's essentially going to try to build the volume that goes from that rectangle to the triangle, and you can specify, for instance, the path that this figure will take as it goes from one profile to the other one. Meanwhile, sweep, as you can also see from the profile, from that picture in there, is that you have a singular profile and you have, as you can see on the line, a path that it's going to take. So it just will follow that path. So that's pretty useful if you want to make, for instance, cables as an example. So let's do a quick example. For instance, suppose that I wanted to draw a pencil. Actually, no, a pencil would be, say that I wanted to make like a rocket booster as an example. By the way, there's many ways that you could do this, but one approach could be this one. But it's a rocket booster that it's rectangular in the bottom, it's hexagonal in the middle, and it's circular at the very top. So what would that look like? So I would do a square, for instance, in here. Let's give it, I don't care right now about the dimensions, let's just make it something. And let's make another one in here, and I'll click finish. Now, what we can do is, so we are in the XY plane, so I can create a new plane that's gonna be parallel offset from one of these ones. So we'll go here and XY. So let's specify that I wanted a 1, sure, there we go. I'm gonna do a sketch, work plane number 1, and let's bring our hexagon. Where are you? And it might be better if I don't do a hexagon, but it's fine. Like I'll draw here. Yes, exactly 6 sides. Suppose we have something big like this. I don't know. Let's define that be one, because why not? And let's make these two sides parallel from each other. Oh, oh, it's no. Oh, I have to project geometry. There we go. It always gets me. There we go. Parallel. And now that side, I'll make it a construction. There we go. And maybe I think that's fully fine. And I'll say finish. Now we got our square. And now let's create yet one more plane. That's gonna, oh, I didn't specify that I want this one in particular. And we'll specify again, maybe two this time. Good. So now we'll go here, sketch. Such a weird type of rocket booster. It could also be a vase more than a booster. Somewhere where you would put flowers. And I'll say two. I'll say finish. So what Loft is gonna do is that I can click here and I'm gonna select that profile, and that profile. So it's trying to connect everything together. And actually the way that it's doing it naturally, it's not bad at all. I can click on OK. So it starts as a square, and then that line it sends it all the way to the middle, and it goes all the way like that. It looks pretty rounded and whatnot. So this is a pretty powerful tool because you can make pretty complex things like the PlayStation handle. However, I'm gonna delete these. And I'm gonna say, there we go. Oh, actually, I do not wanna delete, but I'm gonna uncheck that. That way our top sketch is there. Very good. But what if I wanted to specify something different? For instance, suppose that we go to the XZ plane and say, I'll make a sketch in here, and I want to say I'm gonna project geometry. That way I know where that point is. Suppose that I'm gonna draw a spline. Actually, I'm gonna project geometry here as well. And I'm gonna make that a construction. There we go. And I should probably project geometry that point too. Okay. So I'm gonna do a spline that goes all the way from here. So weird looking spline, right? But that's the whole point is that I'm gonna click OK. So suppose that I want the vase to follow that shape on that side, as an example. And because we're fancy, we could say, you know what, I could draw a middle line like this. I'm gonna make that like that, very good. And we could mirror this around here. And I click apply. Then what we have is that I'll click here in finish, and I'm gonna click on loft, and we'll select again here it says sections to add. Again, the same sections as we had before. It does the same figure that we had, but now we go here to rails, and we're specifying that variety of rail which is on the edges because we have them there. You could also have a center rail as an example. But I'm gonna add, for instance, that guy and that guy. And I'll say okay. So you see it makes a way more complex here. In fact, maybe this looks like a weird type of hat, I would say, or something. I mean, it looks kind of interesting. A submarine, a boat, could be a boat if it was like that. A mushroom as well. So she pretty complicated stuff. Now, let me delete everything but sketch one. Say delete. Sketch two, I don't want it either. Now let's illustrate how sweep works. So for sweep, it's a lot more, I mean, it's much easier than this because I can go now to the XZ plane. I'll do a sketch in there. And now I'm gonna grab our friend, the spline, and I'm gonna draw it. So I'm choosing the very origin of this figure, even though I could also choose the edge if I wanted to. But suppose I wanted to do something kind of funny, like a spiral shape like that, and I say, okay, well, I go now to 3D model, sweep, and the option for sweep, it automatically detects everything that is our profile, and that's the way it's gonna go. By the way, I should mention too, here you also have like the orientations, right, that you could follow. I could also say, all right, well, I'm going to choose that one. But with sweep, it also gives you the choice to do cuts if you wanted to. The same thing with loft. It could be a sweep such that it's adding volume like it's doing it right now, or it could also cut remove volume from a figure, which is also possible if you already have volume. Here's detecting that it doesn't. Well, here do okay, and it generates this very easy pattern as you can see here. Very good. Let's now draw the banana. All right, so we're here in Inventor, and just like we've always done with every single project so far, before we actually jump straight into the interface, we're going to look at some pictures to just try to define our strategy that we'll be employing. And as a result, well, this will say for later in just a second, but I'm going to put the banana. We're gonna look at this picture right here, and there's a couple of different things that I personally wasn't so much aware of before actually I started cutting bananas. This is a project that is presently offered in each one of the How to Cut series because it's quite educational. And there's two things to mention about the banana. First, well, actually, one really is it's the fact that actually bananas have five sides on average. I think the expected number of sides is like something like 4.7 or like a number like that. You can have bananas with four sides, bananas with six sides, but on average, most of the times they will come with five. And that would be very useful because we're gonna put this and we're gonna build a wireframe that is based on hexagons. But we're gonna look at this picture. We're gonna bring this into Inventor. We're gonna trace only, say, the middle part of the banana, at least to have an idea of the overall orientation. So I'm gonna bring this picture in just a second, and we're gonna create cuts. I'm gonna create a cut in here, cut in here. Like these are planes that we're gonna create, and then we're gonna start drawing little sections of this banana. Of different sizes. You see, they're mostly about the same size, to be honest. Except maybe more towards like the edge of the banana. So here's rather small, but then most of the times it's about the same size. Um, and yes, and then we're gonna loft all of this around, and that's gonna create a nice little figure for the banana. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've downloaded this picture already, and so I'm here on Inventor, and what I'm gonna do is go here to part. So we're gonna create a new part. We're here and then sketch. Let's choose the XY plane. And let's bring an image. But this image is really like a guide plane. It's not that we're gonna use this a lot. In fact, I don't even care for the purposes of the banana specifically. Maybe yes, I will go here to tools, application options, actually not options, document settings. I will change it to millimeters, but I don't care about really fully defining each one of the dimensions of this thing. But we're gonna mostly free draw this banana. So what I'll do is go here to 3D model, to sketch, then to spline, the interpolation spline, and I'm gonna start drawing from there. So the spline roughly, there we go, represents, there we go, and I'll click on OK. Represents the positions of our banana. One thing that I would like to do is want to add maybe a few construction lines in here that are gonna go like that, just to more or less have like the top part of the banana right here, and make that perpendicular, and actually make these two lines tangent. Let's see whether that works. There we go. Excellent. I think that's mostly fine. And the same thing in here. See whether I can change the time. There we go. Perfect. I'm gonna leave that in there, even though I will add another construction line there. Just for the neck of the banana. Obviously, we're not gonna make it exactly as one in the picture. It's gonna look even nicer. Your own self-made banana. And then actually, let me see if I can make these two lines collinear. And that, I want them to be perpendicular. There we go. Okay, good. I'm just playing around with the orientation a little bit of this stuff. But now we got this thing, and that means that we're gonna create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 planes. So it's gonna be a while, and I'm gonna show you exactly how this process is gonna go. So really the hexagons on this one, this one, this one, this one. So on these four, they're gonna be about the same size, I would imagine. Then maybe on this one and this one, they will be slightly smaller. So I'll click here and finish. And now what we'll do is go here to plane, and we'll use this one that's called point normal to curve at point. So I can select, for instance, that point and the line. So it creates a plane right there. Now, let me see if I can, want to select again the plane, point normal, point and curve. So it automatically knows. And now let me do it again. Boom. Let's do it again. Just adding a few. And these are gonna really represent our working planes. I like a lot this strategy because it really gives you a lot of control over. Wait, there we go. We just couldn't see it. Excellent. No, actually, it didn't create itself. Let me add it one more time. Excellent. There we go. Oh, there we go. Let's add a few more. Excellent. Almost done. Right here. Wait. I don't know why sometimes there. I think I just have to click on the line as well. Excellent. There we go. Okay, good. So we got our planes, and now we're gonna start drawing a sketch. Say on, actually, I selected the wrong plane. There we go. Sketch on that plane right there. And we got our picture. And what we're gonna do now is go here to, let's see, where is it? Here on polygon. We're gonna make actually a construction polygon. And we're gonna make these 5 sides because we know the banana has 5 sides. And we're gonna bring it, say, all the way up to there. Good. And then I'll come back to these ones later. But now I'm gonna just save, and I'm gonna do now a sketch on work plane number 2. But first I wanna draw all of these guys, and then I'm gonna hide the banana, and that's gonna make working with these a lot easier. I'm gonna make this construction as well, and I'm gonna bring it all the way there. I'll say finish. And here the key, purposely, is the fact that we don't want this to look too regular. So it's good to take some form of creative freedom, per se, when you're drawing these things. And you see why, the reason why I'm making them construction so far, like I'm not really making them solid lines, is because we don't want the sides of the banana to look too flat. What we're gonna do in just a second is we're gonna start drawing a series of arches in each one of these sides, and then we're gonna connect them all. There we go. So we find this origin, then we find a point that is roughly on the edge, and you see how we're building slowly the sides. What is key right here is the middle line, because the middle line defines really where the origin of each one of these pentagons will be. Let me just draw a few more here. Alrighty, so now that we got all of the, at least all of these pentagons drawn in here, what I'm gonna do is go here to sketch 1, and I'm gonna hide it for just a little bit. So I'll just hide it right there. And now what I'll do is I'll go over to, say, sketch 2. I'm gonna edit that sketch. And now we have like free space in here, so we can just draw with no problem. And I'm gonna do a series of arches that are gonna be connected like that. So I'm gonna draw them slowly, just like that. So these will actually represent more realistically the size of our banana. There we go, just like that. Oh, excellent. And I'll click finish. And that's gonna be, say, one of our wedges. Then I'll go over to sketch 3 and edit that sketch. And we're gonna do the exact same thing. I'll go here to arches, I'll select each one of the sides, and slowly I will add a little bit of thickness. You don't wanna, at least I've done enough CAD bananas in a bunch of softwares, and one thing that I've learned is that you don't wanna give it too much of an arch, right? You just wanna make it slightly noticeable. And that way looks realistic with its 5 sides. There we go. I'll say finish. So now, just like before, I'll speed it up a little bit. That way you don't have to see me like just wait while I draw all of these things. So I'll do that in just a second. Alrighty, so now we got all of our wedges CADed, but at least this is starting to look like a banana. At least you can perhaps tell that it has the overall shape. But there's a couple of more things that we can do. And we're going to introduce one very, very useful thing, which is called the 3D sketch. So if you go right here, and I click, instead of in that little triangle, instead of 2D sketch, I'm going to do 3D sketch. And I'm going to draw a spline. Now, this spline that I'll draw here, the usual spline that we draw, is going to be one such that I'm going to connect all of these points right here. So really, what I mean by the wire structure will come to life right now. And I'll say, okay, see how now we have the top side of our banana fully covered by a spline, by a wire per se. And that's pretty good because we're going to replicate that with all the other, there's 4 more splines. In fact, I'll start drawing them right now. And these will act as guiding curves in just a second for when we start lofting this thing. So I'm going to draw this stuff in here. Oh, there we go. I'll draw this out. Let's say, okay. Yeah, now we connected. You start to see all of the different wedges of our banana and how, it's regular and irregular at the same time. Now, it's visually sometimes difficult to draw these splines because it's difficult to identify the exact points where these are supposed to go. See, did I mess up already? Yes. So let me just do. Alrighty, so now suppose that you've got it all the way to this point. You've added all of the curves, you've added all of the wedges, all of these little pentagons in here. I know it takes a lot of time, but suppose you go to this point, which is already a lot, and you have this beautiful wireframe drawn, we can start the lofting stage. The lofting stage is actually quite simple. We go here to 3D model, and we click here. Oh, actually, first I should click on finish. There we go. Now, yes, we go here to 3D model. Then we go here to loft. What happens is that it will prompt me to select some of these wedges, some of these sections. So for instance, I can click on these two and see how, let me just go here for OK for a second. And it creates that closed solid right there. So it's created by using that face and that face. This is the basics of the loft. Now you could be a little bit more precise in that and say, all right, what if I wanted to add some form of rail? A rail could be, for instance, this center line, but that one, it's kind of meaningless because let me click OK. That is really the line that we use to create each one of the planes. All of these planes are point normal to that line, so it's already kind of inherently within the design in that it's embedded. So we're not going to use that one. Instead, I'm going to go edit feature. You can select some of those rails. So I can go here and say, all right, what if I want to say that line as an example? And you see how it's going to follow the curvature in there. You can select that line. I can select that line, and oh, maybe there's one more. No, that's the middle line. Then we select, there's one more. Oh, this one. Here we go. See how now, if I click on OK, it looks a lot more rounded, the faces of that wedge. So that is as if you had grabbed the banana and you had chopped it in a little slice. But now we'll look here to law. Let me just edit this for a second. And where it says sections, let's continue adding sections. So I can go like this, adding the different wedges of our banana. There we go. And I click on OK. And I have your banana. Now, what I do not remember from looking at oh yes, so that's like the edge of the banana, and that's like the top. So now we have to add one little part in there. But that's really the basics of how this would work, which I think is like quite interesting. Now, if I go back to image one and let me maybe show it for a second. Oh, it's not here. Maybe I should also show sketch one. Otherwise, we're not gonna see the picture. There we go. See that? Well, it's not exactly the same curvature as banana, but at least it's like a decent approximation, right, of how you would make this. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do another 2D sketch. And this 2D sketch is gonna be on the XY plane, which is where we started drawing the original sketch. And now we're gonna trace over all this area, at least up to there. So what I'll draw is maybe a line that's gonna go like that. And that line really, it's gonna be a construction line. There we go. And then we can draw a little arch, right? Why not? Just gonna go like that. And then another one that's gonna go like that. So it's gonna represent the upper part of the banana. Now I'm gonna leave this as is for now. I'll click on, actually, I'm gonna draw one line that's gonna go like that. That line is perpendicular to that line in there. You'll see why I'm drawing that in a second, because I'll click here and finish. And then I will go here to plane, point normal, and I'll click on that point and that line. So now we got a plane that is right there. So I'll do a sketch on there. Very good. And now what I want to draw is, actually now what I could do is I can hide this sketch again because I do not need a picture. We'll draw another polygon. And I'll just draw it all the way like that. So one, for instance, that point and that point to be touching each other. So I'll make them, oh, I don't think it's coincident. Let me see. Let me try one more time. Actually, what I could do is go here to project geometry. Oh, but it's not really projecting what I want. There's a project. There we go. Now I got at least that line in the air. Very good. So look here to polygon one more time. Excellent. There we go. But now I would want that line and that line to be coincident as well. Excellent. So now we know that the bottom is touching there, the top is touching there, And we got our nice polygon defined by those two curves. And that will be probably sufficient for us now. And then I go here to our friend the arch, and we'll add a few more lines in here, just like that. And there we go. And then we'll click finish. It's important to make sure, and I was making many of these mistakes earlier, that this is a closed loop, that it's a closed sketch, because otherwise the loft won't work. Hopefully this will work now because I go here to loft and I click here in that face. I can click in that face in there and you see, all right, it's doing intuitively what it would do is an ugly looking loft that is just a prism, right? That it's been extruded all the way downwards. But we go here to rails. I will click here to add that one and I will add that one too. Well, actually, oh, I see what's going on. I made a mistake. And the mistake is that that line is there when it shouldn't. So what I'm gonna do is I'm glad that okay, it's a good learning opportunity is to maybe I'm gonna let's see if I can delete coincident constraint. Oh, let me just see if I can define the height of this stuff for a second. Let's make that 25. There we go. Okay. And now I'm gonna make these two touch like that. And then that and that should be coincident as well. Maybe that, I'll make it 27. Let's see what happens. Okay, good. Now this should work. So I'll go here back to loft. We'll select this face. We'll select the bottom area. There, where are you? Let's see. Here we go. And then for rails, click to add. I'll add that one, and that one should work now. Good. So now we got the top part of the banana drawn out. And maybe that work plane, actually all of the work planes. Let's see if I can hide them. Or I can go here to view, object visibility, and then work planes. I'll just hide all of them, just like that. Good. Uh, Minus that one. Okay. And then maybe one last detail that I'll do is go here to sketch. To that face, I always like adding this detail in there. And go here to project geometry, model, and I'll extrude that by, say, 8 millimeter. I like to always give it a little bit of thickness in there. We're gonna color our banana in just a second. And for now, let's continue doing this. Now, project geometry, that face in there, and 1 millimeter as well. Good. Yeah, so this looks roughly like a banana. It's all gray. Obviously, we have to give it some color to make it look pretty. However, I want to do something interesting since we're here. I'm gonna go here to the X1 plane, and I'm gonna create the new plane. It's gonna be roughly here the offset plane command from the XY. We're gonna offset it by 20. Let's see where that's gonna leave us. So maybe let's do 100. There we go. So suppose that I wanted to cut the banana in half. Say I wanted to like slice it all the way through. We're gonna try something fun, which is the following thing. I'm gonna go here to sketch all the way in plane 10, and I'm gonna project geometry these lines. So I want to project the bottom silhouette of the banana, which is, let me see if it allows me. I mean, I could do, actually, it's fine. I'm just happy with the top line. But The point is that what if I wanted to just draw a random spline in here that chops the banana like this? So I'm gonna do a cut that goes all the way, and I'll say okay. And I'm gonna go and finish. So now there's this command that's called split body. So for select tool, I can select, say, this select tool, I can select this line, and then for select faces, I'll say, all right, actually I wanna select all of this body in here. So you see what I'm doing? I'm literally grabbing a slicer that looks all the way like that, and it's gonna chop the banana in two. So now you'll see that just go to solid bodies. You're gonna have two bananas, for instance. Let me actually hide this for a second. I could, for instance, get the top banana or the bottom banana. And this is quite cool because I can, for instance, do the following thing. I can go here to properties, do the top banana, and I can say, all right, what if I wanted the top one to be a color and the bottom one to be a separate color? So let's say if I find brass as an example. Yeah, this is the part where this goes a little bit funky per se. And what if I wanted the bottom one to be edit properties bronze? It's kind of funky. And then what if I now go to that original? Uh, in fact, you see that now all of the different parts are gone. I mean, I can click in here and say, well, I could change individually the colors of these things, but no longer of the features because these are two different bodies. Just like a fun thing that you can try doing. I could do like aluminum dark. Let's see. You can change it of all the bodies at the same time, like this. And I'm going to do it on the top as well. Wait. You could think of this as a two-flavored banana. One that is very dark and one that is white. And one that is like, classic and darker. There you go. So an interesting thing. So we've learned so far how to do all of these cuts, how to employ the loft, and how to make irregularly sized shapes like the banana in here. Now, in just a moment, we're going to employ all of these skills to make the PlayStation controller. Stay tuned for that. So now it's time to cut the PlayStation controller. And as you can see already from my sketch right here, I've been trying for a while to cut this controller. In fact, at the moment of making this video right now, this is my third attempt. And the reality is that the PlayStation controllers, you can see from these pictures right here, is pretty complex to do. As usual, before we go into making any sort of CAD model, it's good to look at pictures. And that's something that, despite how much I've looked at many of these pictures, it was still very difficult. Even though I stopped for a minute and I started to think a little bit more carefully about how I wanted to CAD this thing. And now I think I have a better idea of what the strategy will be, the one that I will be pursuing in just a second. But I have in here pulled up a couple of pictures. These will be for the logos. This is the easy stuff. I think the more complex part of the controller is making this arm in here, because afterwards, all of the other details are fairly simple to do. In essence, what we're going to do, at least what I've learned that we have to do, is build a wireframe that's going to go all along this direction. We're going to do a few section cuts along here, and we're gonna do a spline, and we'll build these sections, then we'll loft it all around, then we'll complete the section there, and that's gonna merge into this area right here. It's just that executing that is not necessarily easy. So we're gonna give it a shot from right here. So I have this base drawing in here from the PlayStation controller. At least this is our overall shape. So what I'm gonna proceed to do in a second is I'm gonna try to draw the side view or the PlayStation controller, and then I'll create a plane that's going to go diagonally in that direction, and that's where we're going to start to build all of the different parts of the controller. So I'll probably speed it up from now onwards. That way, you don't have to hear me speak all throughout this process, because honestly, there's a lot of things that will be trial and error, and we'll figure out as we go. So please enjoy.
flag. Oh yeah, we've been waiting for this. Oh yeah, we all at? We right here.
Ya empezó la rumba y estamos celebrando. Todo el mundo que me le mande la mano. Estamos vivos, hay que disfrutarlo. Y nadie me detiene porque yo no sé parar. No, no. One life, live it up, cause we got one life. One life, live it up, cause we got one life. One life, live it up, cause you don't get it twice. One life, live it up, cause you don't get it twice.
For the love, I'ma rep where I'm coming from. Every nation under the sun, elevating their favorite son when he hit and run. You wanted it, you got it. The whole world is watching, so let's get this poppin'. We all out, we right
Only
here.
one life to live, got so much to give. Fighting for the nation now, that is my gift. Run like a champion and win like a king. That's my only goal, my everything. Live it up now, now. Live it up now, now.
Unity, ambition, victory, celebration. One love, one nation. That's freedom when you reach that goal. That's freedom when you reach that goal. That's freedom when you reach that goal. That's freedom when you reach that goal.
Alrighty, folks. I think we are done. We've done the PlayStation controller. It took a lot of time, as you can see, but overall the results from this process are is quite good. I'm pretty satisfied with this, how this is looking. Obviously, it's not an exact replica, but at least it's recognizable that this is a PlayStation controller. And you can look at this, and yes, you have, the angles look right. I think the bottom side looks relatively accurate, according, at least relative to the actual design. And we even were able to add the cord from here. And we've used a variety of skills, a lot of loft, a lot of also sweep to add this little detail right on the cut of the controller. But yes, overall, I think this is looking pretty beautiful. So thank you very much for sticking along, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.